Hey guys, how we doing? I'm not sure if you guys are really into this or not, but I wanted to air it and just see, if you guys are in old muscle cars and stuff like I am. This was way back in, let me see here. This is in June 27th of 2010. This is at Long Branch Park. This is the Syracuse Mopar Club, of which my dad was a member for many years. Loved this old Roadrunner here, probably 72, 73, somewhere in that range. And those Kragers, that's the way we did it back in the day. Krager SS's on the side. So we're going to just scroll through some cars here. And if you're a Mopar guy, you're going to love this. Of course, the six-pack, the 3 2-barrels, one of the more popular options on the 440 Magnum. And I had a chance to drive a 440 this past summer. And man, I tell you, those things got some snap to them right there. Old Coronet, I believe this is a 68 because it's got the butterfly windows in the side, got the stripe. And again, those Krager SS's are on there as always, kind of a mandatory thing on those cars. Love the Chargers. This is a 68 because also it has the butterfly windows. Could be a 69. I know it's not a 70 because the 70 had the wraparound bumper. So I believe that's a 69 right there. Here's an old Dodge painted up like a Super B. Not sure if it's an actual Super B or not. It's either a 68 or a 69. A Coronet. So good looking car right there. And I always thought this was one of the cooler logos that you're going to see in anything right there. I'm going to tilt down just a little bit so you can see that a little bit better. But one of the better logos of all time right there, the Super B logo from back in the day. The old Mopars. This is one I know Joe Murata would like right here. I believe it's like a 58, 59, maybe a 57. But man, I'll tell you, they were the first one to come out with the Hemis. And some of those things they did were amazing. Demon 440. Of course, they didn't come with 440s in them. 340 was the biggest engine, I believe, out of the factory. So this was obviously something somebody had a lot of fun with. Love the dash, love the gauges, aftermarket tack inside this one. And if you notice over there on the left, that's a push-button transmission. A lot of the old Chryslers had the push-button transmissions. That's my dad. That's Allie. Let me see. She would have been, well, a lot younger than she is today. 69 Javelin, like the white and the black. That's really sharp on this one. And this one here is a friend of mine's car. It's a Javelin. I believe it's a 72. It was either his aunt or his grandmother's car, but Timmy, I wanted to make sure I worked your car into this bin. Love the old Barracudas. This is probably 66, somewhere in that range. They had the bubble back. There's a better view of the back of those Barracudas. I believe they changed those in 68 or 69 was when they went with the style like you see with the Cudas and the Challengers of that era. This is just a beautiful car. I believe it's a Chrysler Imperial, but I'm not sure. A lot of engine in this thing right there. Just a beautiful car. Dodge was really known. And obviously, it's a letter car. 300. So you can tell that in the grill right there in the center, the red, white, and blue means it's a 300. I don't know what letter it was, but a very, very valuable car. I don't remember the name they called these Furies back in the day, but this is about as good as you're going to get a Fury right here. You know it probably had a 440 or maybe even more under the hood, and that is a 70. That is a 300. As I can tell by looking underneath the hood there, reading that right there. Here's a car that looks like it's right out of Joe Dirt. Somebody banged up the nose. And can't tell if this is a Charger Daytona or a Super B at this, or excuse me, a Super Bird at this point. This one we do know that is a Super Bird. Plymouth was the Super B or Super Bird, excuse me, and the Charger Daytona was the Dodge equivalent. Always liked the orange. Yeah, there's some nice cars down in there. Nice Challenger right here. Always loved those. Who would have thought out of the Camaros, the Mustangs, and the Challengers that the Challengers and the Barracudas would end up being the ones that would end up being more money down the road. Just love the lines on this. I believe this is a 58 right here. Just a beautiful looking car. And again, these Mopars, look inside. That's nice. You know, no airbags, no padded wheel, no padded dash. Loved it when the speedometers went all the way across the dash like that. Believe that's a 73. Charger there. I had a 72 back in the day, and this might even be a 72 right here. It's just most of them ended up having 318 engines in them, where the 340 and the 340 was not common in this. 383s and 440s were, but the 318 didn't have any snot to it, but boy, talk about a reliable motor. The one in mine, that thing started every time I had it. Now that you can see it's got the piece back behind the windows there. That means it's an SE, so it's a special edition model of the Charger right there. This right here, this is just beautiful right there. I love these particular models. They made a lot of stock cars out of these. This is, as you can see, it's either 71 and up. I think they made these 71 through 74. I believe, was the last year that they made those. And of course, 70 was the last year anybody really had any real horsepower, so the horsepower kept going down. But love the stripes on these old Mopars. This is a Roadrunner, obviously, here. Love the front air dam on this thing. That's just a darn good looking car. This is a later one. I believe this is a 74 Roadrunner here. And again, I'm only guessing on these, so don't hold me to this. And if you know, obviously let me know. 440 Roadrunner there, and obviously it's past 1970, so it doesn't have quite the power of some of the others, but just a darn good looking car across the board. Challengers, of course. I mean, what more do you need to say? Just one of the beautiful cars. The CUDA AAR. This is something they ran in road course racing. They had the 340 in them at the time, and man, they were talk about serious money now. I liked it when they did that 383 stripe on the back there. They only did that, I believe, in 1 year. I think this is 72 or 73 was for that one right there. My dad, of course, always liked, I believe that's a Chrysler Newport is what that is. Thing probably had electric windows, big 440. And man, those things would go as long as you had the nerve to keep your foot in it long enough. That's the big thing there. CUDA convertible. Actually, it's a Barracuda, and the Barracuda means it's a 318 or a 6. CUDAs were 383s and 440s, and of course the 340 a little bit later on. Love the old ads from the publications at the time. Could have been right out of a magazine that you bought at the time. They had some of the newer tuner cars there. Those neons, a lot of those ended up being race cars down the road. You can see the carbon fiber fenders on this one. Of course, this was just after Fast and Furious, so a lot of people were having some fun with intercoolers and turbos and all kinds of cool stuff. This is a friend of mine's truck, Andrew. I wanted to make sure I got that one in there for you. He did a lot with that, and boy, that thing really sounded good. You can tell he did a lot of work to this truck right there. Man, I don't even know where you'd find parts for something like this. I believe this is somewhere in the late 50s right here. And of course, the later Power Wagon. Look at those tires on that thing. That must have been tough to keep straight going down an asphalt road. Row of Challengers right there. Some of the newer ones right there. Which, again, as long as they keep them together, just don't mix them in with the newer Challengers when you get to the show, please. This one, it doesn't really belong in the Mopar Club, but man, with the gull-wing doors on it, that does look pretty sharp. Right off the track, and this guy better be careful or he's going to peel up some grass right there, as those things will really go right there. Look at that. Oh, man. Talking a lot of horsepower. This is right off the strip, as you can see. But, man, what a car. Love the Plymouth Superbird. Of course, you know the history with these. They created them to run in NASCAR. That's when aerodynamics was a big thing. And those Superbirds and Charger Daytonas, man, they were something on the NASCAR tracks. Of course, other manufacturers tried longer windows, more narrow front ends, and of course there were the bubble-back Monties and Grand Prix of the era too. But this is 66 Charger, by the way, and the one thing I loved about this, a friend of my dad's had one. See how it's a 4-seater? The console runs right through it. Back seats fold down too, so there's a lot of room in that thing. GTX, love the GTX. This was the step up from the Roadrunner. Had the gauges, had a lot of the other options, and here's your family truckster of the time. This is probably mid-60s right here, 64, something like that. But that's how you got around. And, of course, this thing right here, man, you could have a lot of fun with this. We had a great time that day. I hope you guys liked this. I wanted to give it a try and see if anybody of you grooved on this. I just wanted to put it up because I liked it. Hit that right down there. It'll subscribe, you guys. Doug at Doug's Dirt Diary is how you can get a hold of me. Hope you're having a great weekend.